Hey, this is Dr. Paul Dyer. Welcome to another day of Talking with Dr. Paul. And I have a special guest, and I'll just keep your name. You want me to name out of the conversation? But you listen to Dr. Paul with Bridges, and Bridges Live every Monday. So, you just had a birthday.
Yes, I did.
How old are you?
I'm 75 as of 21st of September.
So, as people, we forget to talk to our elders. And I think this conversation is going to be so special to me because not only an elder, you're a family. And family is important, but we don't listen to our mothers, grandmothers, and elderly women in the family. What happened?
Well, I really don't know what happened. They just don't have time to listen, Paul. That's the whole thing. They don't have time to listen. They don't take time to sit down and ask us anything. They just guess and go.
Now, because this is radio, this is podcast, most people don't know what color you are, but you're a black woman, you're an older black woman, and you lived through a lot of things, and most blacks now are either angry or confused or lost. Which one do you see most of?
Lost.
How so?
Well, because first of all, they seem like they don't have a meaningful life where they're trying to go or what they're trying to do.
If they're lost, how do we find them?
Oh, that's a long story.
Because you raised a lot of kids.
Yes, I have, but I don't know how. See, it's a different era now, so that's the whole thing. I blame a lot to do with the technology because a lot of them, that's where it is now. If we could break through that, then we might be able to save some of them.
So you're basically saying it's a conversation that we're not having with each other and with our youth.
Correct.
Or with our seniors.
Right. That's right.
And our seniors are passing, and they're taking a lot of knowledge with them, and I think that's why this is very important to me, because in a way I'm using you for your knowledge, using you before you pass on whenever God's willing to take you to His kingdom. But I don't want to lose that.
I understand.
So there's things that that you see that it's like if you don't say anything, maybe because we're not listening, what is like the one thing, especially let's go with women, what's some of the things that you notice women aren't doing?
Well, on my part, where I come from in Florida, they're not being family orientated, and I don't understand how they lost that or what happened in that situation, but that's a big problem. They're not family orientated.
But family has been broken. You know that. Family's been shattered through prison, drugs, violence.
Right. You're absolutely right. But I don't know how we're going to get them back on course. It's a hard task. I see it every day.
You see the young girls selling themselves cheaply, wearing the clothes they shouldn't wear.
Yes.
Is it forgiveness? Is it something that they have not adapted to, is forgiving themselves of what they're not or what they think they should be?
Most of them I see have low self-esteem. That's the whole thing. The way they dress and, with the makeup, and they think that's the thing, but it's not. I don't want to step on anybody's toes because, that's the look they want to achieve, but God made every woman beautiful. You don't need all that to be beautiful. Beautiful is within you. It comes from the heart. Now,
you had you had a strong strength about you about getting things done. You had your own business. You worked hard.
Yes.
And you was trying to teach sewing to kids who didn't think that was possible.
Well, I taught the unwed mothers in Florida how to sew, and it was a hard task because, first of all, they didn't want to be there, and they always came in angry at the mother, the boyfriend, or whoever, and, it was just hard dealing with. Because, first of all, you can't teach anybody something if they don't want to be there. So that was the biggest problem. Trying to get their confidence to let them know that they could learn something.
Mm-hmm. The civil rights was a big part of your life because it was the area you grew up in.
Right, yes it was.
What was the one thing that stuck out in your mind in that time when you were growing up that was very significant to you? Like it was a big part. Like Like it meant.
The biggest part was this black and white thing.
Okay, what do you mean?
See, I couldn't understand it because I was partly raised in New Jersey and Philadelphia, and when I went to Florida, it was strictly taboo. Blacks over here, whites over there. And for me, that was awful hard for me to understand. And when we started with the civil rights movement, it was, an era which was going to bring change, which it did, but it was hard for me because they had told us at church that while we were going to march, if you had to stand in line and you were being abused and you couldn't take it, turn the other cheek, then you were asked not to participate. So I couldn't participate because I didn't think I could stand there with people spitting on me and pushing me and throwing me down. So I chose to just give water out to the people that was taking the harsh punishment. And that was very, very severe for me. I couldn't, I used to dream of that. That was so hard for me to get over.
Is it something that we can get over as a country? Can we get over it, or have we gotten over it? Because I personally, being my age, whatever, 50 plus, I don't think we're over it. And I think we don't talk about it, but I don't think we're over it.
Well, we're not over it. I don't know when we'll ever get over it because, first of all, black people has to come together as a whole people. We're too separative. You got blacks number 1 over here, blacks number 2 over there, number 3. So on and so on. You know what I'm trying to say. Until we get together as a whole race of people, we'll be able to accomplish something. Because in the 60s, that's where we are today. That's why we got where we are. Because we all came together from state to state to state as whole people. And until that happens, it's going to stay the same.
But we've lost that. We've lost coming together. There is no togetherness.
Yep,
There's more separate. I think we're more separate now than we ever have been.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Excuse me. The thing that worries me is I don't know what we're going to do about it. How can we get our blacks to come together as a whole race?
Do you think there's a revolution coming? And if there is a revolution, and maybe I'm using the wrong word, do you think there's going to be more bloodshed in the streets?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I believe that. I honestly do believe that because you have, a lot of blacks that don't agree with this white supremacist and stuff. And it's going to come. I assure you it's going to come. Is
it coming because it's more or less, it has been deemed to come through, like, revelations? Is this badness, is it meant to come for us to get to the next stage?
I believe when I talk to some of the younger blacks that they believe in their minds they need that to get to the next level, like you said.
That's a lot of pain.
Oh, yeah, well, that's how they feel. I hope it don't happen like
that.
Yeah,
because we don't need the deaths like that. We don't need the blood running in the streets the way it is. I mean, right now we're killing each other for all kinds of things.
Right, you're absolutely right.
What will help us? If you could say, in your mind, what would be the steps that, instead of bloodshed, what would be the steps that we could do to...
Well, first of all, like I said before, Paul, we have to get the black people together as a whole race. Without that, you can't take a little handful of blacks and try to accomplish anything. We need a multitude of race. I mean, the entire black race has to get together so we can fight this thing. Otherwise, we can't do anything with just a handful. You know that.
Blacks don't have an identity, though.
Well, that goes all the way back to slavery. We're not going to even go there.
Right.
But we are in this country.
Together.
And we can do something about it if we all get together and stand together as a whole race, regardless of in our race what color. Blacks, we are light, brown, dark. We're all still black people, and that's not going to change. So
they used to say if you have one drop of black blood in you, you're black.
Well, that's what they say, but depends on the person. That's all I have to say.
We are in the next generation. We always keep talking about the next generation, the next generation. I think we need to be more proactive in this generation.
Well, how are you going to go about that? We're back to the same thing as blacks need to come together as a whole. until that happens, we just can't do anything, Paul. We really need our master race to come together.
Is there, and for those who could listen to this, whether it be black, white, or anything, if I was a white person or a person who's non-black, is there a way that I could help, or they can help, or I think, in my personal opinion, I think it's not just the acknowledgement or the support, but it's to not be always in the way.
Well, I don't know how to explain that, Paul, because like I said, until we get together as a whole, regardless of who we bring in to help, we can't accomplish anything.
A lot of tears.
Yep, it's going to be a lot of tears. A lot of tears.
So faith has been your strongest support in your life.
Yes, it has.
Is that also what's missing from our culture of people? Is the belief in faith?
Right. The belief in Jesus Christ. That's missing. That's missing terribly.
Is church losing the youth?
Yes, they are. They're losing them in a great way. It has a lot to do with communication, and the church is not offering the younger generation. I don't know what they can offer them because it's church.
Right.
But they need to do something to draw them into the body of church so they'll know about Christ. A lot of them don't even know anything about Christ.
And we know we've taken Christ out of schools and Christ out of a lot of education services and things like that. And people say, well, that's one of our downfalls.
Right. Well, Christ starts at home first.
Right. So we're having this like the seesaw, the circle. The homes are broken.
Yes.
So Christ isn't in the homes.
Right.
So the kids are broken.
That's correct.
And now the kids are talking about we need blood in the streets.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that little list right there, it seems like we're doomed to fail.
It all starts in the home. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
When children are small, they go by the teaching of the parents. And if the parent doesn't start putting Christ into the child's mind, then they grow up every which way. And that's what happened. There's no love for Jesus Christ in their life. So they're wandering. They don't know what to do.
You know, I remember my mom, and I lost my mom in 2015, and she was such a strong teacher to me,
mm-hmm.
and I remember her so vividly in everything I do and breathe
mm-hmm.
about taking a stand,
right,
educating yourself,
right,
loving others,
right,
caring not just for others, but caring for yourself and pairing with other people.
Correct.
I'm so glad that me talking to you and me putting this here in the recording and that I see that in you too, and I thank you for giving that to me.
Well, you're quite welcome. I'm glad to do it. Plus, I love you, so that has a lot to do with it.
Thank you so much, and thank you for this little time, because I'm going to hopefully this helps. It's like prosperity. Hopefully a youth will hear this. Hopefully another person will hope this. Another one, whoever will hear this and
right.
say, I can do this. I need to change this. And hopefully I can teach this too.
Well, you never know. Prayer changes things. So that's what we're going to do. Pray on it and hope it changes, because God knows it needs to change.
It does need to change. And I know we so many people want to point fingers at certain leadership. But the leader starts in you. But again, that gets taught at home, right?
Yes, that's right.
And if we're always looking outside of ourselves to someone to support us and not look for that growth and glory within us, mm-hmm. I don't know how we're going to get it from the outside.
Well, I don't either. I don't have the answer to that.
We just got to live through it.
Seems like it right now, but who knows?
You've been living a long time.
Well, I don't know, Paul. I really don't. But there's always hope for change. It's going to be a lot of bloodshed, but I might not be here to see it, but it might happen. Might. If, is a big word. It's spelled small, but it's a huge word. So we just have to pray and see what happens.
Me having 6 grandchildren now, and who knows, there'll be more on the way with the kids and stuff. And when you say if, I always look at if is in life.
Yeah, correct.
So if we could just add the L, which is love to me, and everlasting, we can take if into life.
Sure, you were right. I agree with you 100%. But that's a lot of ifing.
That's a lot of ifing. Thank you for everyone for listening to Dr. Paul Bridges Live. And if you have any questions or comments, you can always contact me on drpaulholisticsciences.com. I thank you all for all your blessings and praise, and for all the sponsorships that you guys give me to support my show on Bridges Live and Dr. Paul Weekly Wednesday and Dr. Paul on Friday. So thank you so much. Thank you, Mama.
You're welcome. Love you. Well, that wasn't so bad as I thought.